Welcome back. We're here to talk about Saturday's evening kick-off between Newcastle and Southampton. Start with the away side up to third now after a superb win against Man United last time out.
Really was a brilliant display from them. They didn't allow United a single shot on target. That's the first time since 2007, I think. And brilliant defensive display. And obviously they got the winner, Tadic, who usually does start for them. He started on the bench, but came off to get the winner. Decent finish from him after Pello had hit the post. But yeah, absolutely fantastic win for them. Obviously, they started the season so well, but they didn't play many of the big teams. And then when they first started playing some of the big boys, they did lose a few games in a row. That was a brilliant display and really showcased themselves as, proper top four candidates.
Yeah, they've had 3 games now against Chelsea, Arsenal and United in the last 3 in the Premier League, and they got 7 points from that. It was superb run of form, really. And as you say, they struggled against the big boys when they came up against them before Christmas, but now that's completely turned on their head, and they've really proved their top 4 credentials, really, I think, because many people had them down as pretenders. They were having a good early season sort of form, but they thought they'd slip away. And when they came on, they went on that losing run against the big boys, and then against Sheffield United in the League Cup as well, people thought the wheels were starting to come off. But Koeman's done a good job of solidifying them as a team again and getting them playing well, and they proved it in the results recently.
Definitely, I think this one could be a really good game because Newcastle come into it, even though they did lose last time, they put in a pretty decent display, obviously at Chelsea, at the league leaders. Chelsea, they're fantastic at Stamford Bridge. And they started the game so well, they could have easily got 1 or 2 goals. Obviously, Sissoko hitting the post was the closest they came. Then the minute they conceded that first goal, it was always going to be difficult for them. And obviously, it was a sort of classic Mourinho performance after that. They sort of ran away. Well, didn't run away with it, but they sort of controlled the game after getting the first goal, Chelsea, and it was 2-0 in the end. But I don't think Newcastle will be too disheartened because it was a really good display at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, obviously they're still without a permanent manager. John Carver's put his hat firmly in the ring. He really wants the job now. And that performance, even though they did lose, it won't do him any harm because they did perform well, and the players came out afterwards and said they fancy him to get the job as well. Tim Krul, he said he sees no reason why he wouldn't get it. He gets the players motivated, gets them playing well. I think it's important for them to sort out sooner rather than later. Carver, he hasn't got much managerial experience in the Premier League at all, but you fancy if they can perform like they did against Chelsea every match, then they'll get enough points to start climbing the table and maybe push for a European spot. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Carver situation.
Maybe, yeah. You mentioned about pushing for a European spot. I think they're 10th in the table now. And I think they'll definitely have their eyes, on pushing further up the top half rather than sort of looking over their shoulders towards the bottom, because I think they are a decent team. Obviously, their home form is, St James's Park, always a really good atmosphere there. They usually do pretty well at St James's Park. I think they've only lost 2 games there all season. One of them was on the opening day to Man City, and the other one was against Sunderland, who they've had a terrible record against recently. And obviously, it's a big game that time, Weir Derby, and even though they did lose it 1-0, obviously the really late Adam Johnson goal, it could have gone either way. They could have won it by 3 goals. There were so many chances in that game. So their home form has been really good, and I think they'll definitely fancy their chances in this one.
Do you fancy their chances?
I certainly do. Yeah, I think even though Southampton, they are 3rd in the table now, I think they've got the FA Cup replay against Ipswich in midweek, so I think they could be maybe potentially a bit tired. So I'm going to go for a Newcastle 2-1 win.
This is one for me that really could go anywhere. It's a really hard one to call. I think I'm going to go down the middle for a draw. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. So I'm going for a Newcastle victory and a draw. Thanks for watching.